Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the panel, Nikki and Palash. Now, before we talk about AI, I want to start with you as humans and innovators. Can each of you just share a moment where a creative decision changed the direction of your work in a meaningful way? Maybe starting with you first, Nikki.
The turning point for me was realizing that I was creating something that didn't directly fit into a category yet. But that didn't stop me, and I didn't wait on permission. I still followed and trusted my creativity. And that's how Xania came about. And that views how I look at innovation forever, because now I'm on the forefront of something great.
And so, I guess maybe what inspired you to create Xania? I mean, and how did you also learn the artificial intelligence skills to do this in the first place?
When I first started back in June of 2025, 6 months ago, when I created Xania wasn't directly an R&B artist. I wanted to learn AI because I love technology. And I just wanted to see what AI was about and how far technology could really go. So Xania was one of my 4 characters that I created when I was learning it.
What are the other 3?
I had a kids cartoon. It was called Little Lyric and the Crew. I had Grandma Lou. She was like a grandma that just kind of gave like wisdom quotes online. And then I had Colt. He was sort of just like a funny guy who just made videos.
So you were just playing with different AI tools, creating different characters, and Xania was just one of them.
Correct. Xania was like a social media influencer, just making videos, posting on TikTok. Again, playing around with AI because I was really intrigued by it. So
where are the other 3 characters today?
It was too much to handle once Xania blew up. So they're just sitting back. It was too much to handle when Xania blew up.
Okay. So would you say that she almost was created by accident?
I would definitely say that this journey wasn't intentional. The music part of it, it was not intentional. Again, I was learning AI. After I learned it, I started teaching it, maybe like within 3 to 4 weeks. So in the midst of me learning and also hosting Zoom classes and teaching people, I came across the Suno ad on Facebook. And I'm like, okay, what's this? I looked into it, and I put my poems in there. And I was so amazed by the results that Suno gave me. It was almost unbelievable. I'm like, what's going on? So I merged the music with Xania. Instead of creating a new character, I just kind of repurposed her. I put it out on TikTok. And a day or two, the feedback was crazy. So I just kept putting my poems in there and merging and making videos, and 30 days later, record labels was reaching out. I wasn't responding at first because, again, the music industry was not something that I wanted to get into. I was, again, just wanting to learn technology because I love tech.
Wow. So you were playing around with technology, you're curious about AI, using these tools. You create Xania as a social media influencer. She starts going out there, and then you fuse it with music. Next thing you know, it takes on a life of its own. And so all of this that you're talking about has been created in the last 6 months.
Last 6 months. This literally happened. I put Xania music out, the first album, like July 19th. The end of August, I'm sitting at 2 label tables in California.
Wow.
Listening to the deals.
Listen to the deals. And so you signed the deal.
I did.
And so who got the money?
The creator of Xania.
Who's the one sitting on right next to me? Unbelievable. I mean, this breaks all kinds of convention with law. I mean, are there any lawyers in the room? Like, just curious about, like, yeah, you're a lawyer. All right, we're going to hear from you about how, I'd love to hear your opinion on this. All right, so, Palash, can I ask you the same question? Can you tell me about how a moment in your career where creative decision just changed the direction of your work?
Let's see. there's this one time it's related to AI. So in my role as head of music television, I put together a project that I thought was a home run, right? It involved the Russo brothers, the highest, earning directors in history, and I put together The Weeknd as the music side of it, and an AI company. And I thought this was the biggest streaming artists in the world, the biggest, highest grossing directors in the world, and with an AI company. And they were all interested in creating a show that would have more AI involvement. And
TV show?
TV show.
TV show, yeah.
Series. And I went to our, internal committee, and I couldn't get anybody to approve it. And the thing they told me is that, do you really want to be the poster child of the first AI show against the talent agencies and the unions? You'll be the target.
Was this before the Hollywood strike?
This is right before the strike.
Okay.
So it was one of those things that maybe at another time it would have been different, but it really made me understand the ecosystem at a major studio that you have to operate in.
Mm-hmm. The constraints of innovation, where the classic innovator's dilemma, right? Really think about, as you're trying to innovate and bring new things to life, there's going to be resistance to change and fear and anxiety and so forth. So just talking about that, today there's a lot of fear around AI and creativity. Fear of replacement, of loss, of dilution. What do you think people are actually afraid of losing? What were those executives that you were talking to that were so afraid to greenlight the first AI show? What were they afraid of losing?
So major studios, they have deals with the unions, the SAG, Screen Actors Guild, producers, directors, every crew member. I mean, on a movie set, you can't actually empty out the trash. A union member has to empty out the trash. So that's how, at that level. And so you can't really do anything to go against the unions because you'll get blacklisted. So, and you really can't create a film or television show if you're not in compliance with all of these parties. So I think that's, the element that use of AI has to be to a level where you're not in conflict with these unions. So for example, right now, I would say the use of AI, most people don't even know that it's being used, right? It's not visible. It's in visual effects. It's helping in previs, things like that. There's three parts of content creation. There's pre-production, there's production, and there's post-production, right? And so in pre-production, studios work with external creators, right? The writers are not employees, the directors are not employees, producers are not employees. So when a writer creates a script, you'd have to assume it's all him, but
nowadays you don't know.
You don't know, right?
Yeah.
But that is something that the studios is not responsible for because we don't know, right? How can anyone really know, right? So that's one element. Second is, on the visual effects side, there isn't anyone that is complaining about using AI to improve timing and reduce cost. And it's generally improving the product, right? And it's not offending anyone, so it's quite allowed.
So it's a moment of disruption and profound change. Now, entertainment has been hit with several waves of innovation. I remember when we had, cassettes. Does anyone here remember when you had cassettes? Yeah. Then it went to to CDs, and then, MP3, and then there's things like, Napster and all these things, right? And streaming and Apple Music, Spotify, sorry? And now it's back to vinyl. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, eventually the music industry was able to figure out a new model with streaming and Apple and, YouTube, and folks
started making money both from merchandise and I feel that's very. What do you think
the business model eventually is going to look like in this AI world?
Yeah, I mean, these large companies historically have always resisted change until they had no choice, right? The music industry from 1998 or 99 to 2016, it was in a decline. And Napster happened in around 2000, 2001, and they resisted it for years, right? Until they realized that there was no chance in surviving until you adapted. It was out of the box, right? You're not going to put it back in. You can't go back to physical and just ignore digital. The same thing happened with Netflix. Netflix started streaming, and in the early years, all the major studios were happy to license TV shows to Netflix because it was a nice revenue stream, and they didn't worry about the change of the industry until, call it 2018 or 19, when Disney finally said, maybe we need to kind of do this on our own. But by then, the cost of entry was so high that they really faced a lot of problems. And today...
Now everyone's trying to get into streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, when there's a step change technology, it's proven that you better figure it out faster.
You don't want to be the last one to do it. You don't want to be the last to do it.
Because you're not going to survive.
Yeah.
Because it gets too expensive to adapt later.
Yeah. Now, entertainment is built on trust between the artists, the audience, and the platforms. What does AI need to get right for the industry to embrace it at scale rather than resist it and be the last to change?
I mean, I think at least for creativity, if you're going to use AI as the centerpiece, the main course, there should be some level of transparency, all right? So audiences need to know if the main character is completely computer generated, then they should know that. And
like the video we just watched.
Right, exactly.
How many of you thought that was a real person? Some of you? No, a few. I guess you knew that it was an AI artist in the description. You were buying, You were buying it. You thought it was a real person. You thought it could be. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Good job. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at Gen Zs, they are very anti-AI, right? Because a lot of people are using AI in a really subpar way. I mean, the quality is not there. And so I think it's important to be transparent and also use it responsibly, right? Don't let it become everything, it's all AI. It has to be assisting people and creatives.
The transparency, being clear about how it's collaborating versus taking over and so forth. Now let's go back to you, Nikki. Xania Monet didn't just go viral, right? She charted Billboard, as we talked about just now. She signed a multi-million-dollar record deal, and you built a real audience. So what are the hardest creative and commercial decisions you had to make to ensure that this wasn't treated as a gimmick, but as a legitimate artist?
The hardest decision I had to realize was that success wasn't the danger. Misunderstanding was. Going viral was easy. Being taken serious was not, especially with an AI artist. So I had to build a whole life around Xania as if she was a real artist. And once the people felt the work being put in, instead of questioning the process, now the conversations change.
So how did you go about building all of the real things around Xania?
Just from, creating her from scratch, just, giving her a name, giving her like a personality. She only sings about, healing and she's a very emotional person. So now she's grasped like all these fans worldwide. And so it's almost like she has her own identity.
So you put in the work to actually create the identity and the personality and the values and all of those things.
Correct.
How much of the artist that we see in Xania reflects you?
100%. I feel like Xania is just an extension of me. She just delivers my messages.
Okay. So, what do people most misunderstand about Xania?
I think what people misunderstands the most is, as I said earlier, this was not intentional. I was just learning AI, having fun, and everything just eventually came together.
So, as we're moving beyond Xania, you just think about AI in general. When does AI feel like a collaborator rather than a tool? And can you give an example of when AI surprised you or made you rethink how you create?
AI feels like a collaborator when it makes my job harder and not easier. AI
Really?
can give me a million options all day long, but it's not going to tell me which option matters the most. That's when it forces me to use my own taste, my own thinking.
Because AI doesn't have taste.
No, not sometimes. Again, AI just give you options. You still have to be the person behind it, making the decisions, showing up to do everything. So the surprise isn't what AI creates. It's me realizing in the end that it was all my hard work.
That's something profound you're saying. You're saying AI feels like a collaborator when it makes your job harder to do
And not easier.
and not easier. Okay? That's deep. When it makes your job harder to do than not easier. So when it's challenging you to think for yourself, to be more critical, to have really pushing you to use your own judgment.
Right, to rely on my own thinking, my own judgment, my own taste.
And so when we're on there on ChatGPT and it's just giving us all kinds of options and we get lazy and we just pick one,
Correct.
then that's not really us collaborating.
No.
Then we are the tool.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Very deep. Okay. Now, Palash, what excites you most about the future of creativity and AI?
I think what AI enables are less resourceful individuals to realize creative ideas. So, for example, for too long, creativity in the premium space of film and television was limited to people with a lot of resources and connections, right? You couldn't even get into a room if you didn't have that, and if you weren't in the room, you obviously just couldn't do anything in the world. And so what AI has done, I think, is allowed people all over the world with no connection to Hollywood or anything to create premium products and tell stories. And those stories are, I think, more accepted by audiences because they're not a big company using AI to save money, but they're, enabling, young, creative storytellers to show what they can do from their ideas. Mm-hmm. And I think that we'll see more and more filmmakers coming from all over the world through AI without a lot of resources.
So it's democratizing the ability to create, access markets, and opening up a whole new wave of talent that maybe before had been locked out by all the gatekeepers.
Exactly.
So before, if I wanted to create a film, I would have to have some connection that knew some connection that eventually could get to Steven Spielberg to look at my script in Hollywood. Now I can produce and put my pilot on YouTube, and suddenly, I've been seen.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube helped with distribution, right? Yeah. I mean, and now with AI tools helps with creation.
Creation and production.
Right, yeah. So now with the creation and distribution, if you create something good, you will be noticed. Yeah. And I think that's very powerful for people all over the world.
Yeah. All right, now as we close, I want to open up for questions shortly. Leaders in this room run cities, they run healthcare networks, large infrastructure projects, all high-stakes, real-world decisions. Many of them are grappling and they're being asked to modernize systems that weren't designed for AI, like the music industry. You guys, that wasn't designed for AI. And we're also trying to understand what is possible, what are the risks, what are the fears, what are the possibilities. If you had to give these leaders in the room one piece of advice from your own creative journey, because they all need to be creative right now, you all need to be creative right now, to think about how do you use AI in your worlds, right? What advice would you give the leaders in this room from your own creative journey?
Sure. I would go back to, well, first, large companies. Like in my consulting days, I was at BCG Consulting for many years, working with large companies. They're generally slow. They're not innovators. They're not even fast followers. And that's fine when change is incremental, right? But when you're talking about a step change like AI, if you don't innovate early or adapt early, you will get displaced, right? And Netflix example, where it was ignored for many years until they ate everyone's lunch. Right now, everyone else is trying to survive while they're thriving. And the same thing I would say for large organizations. AI has the ability to take out large industries and large players. And even in the public sector, I think they could be challenged by privatization, because if they're 5-10 times more efficient than public sectors, policy will probably, shift to privatization. So I think we're at that stage where you really have to think about adapting, because AI is not an incremental change.
So this isn't one of those slow incremental changes. It's so disruptive that the faster you adapt, the more likely you are to survive and thrive in this new wave. Okay. Nikki, what's your advice?
Learn AI. It's
Learn
here.
AI.
It's not going anywhere. I feel like everybody should learn it. Even if you're scared, you won't know until you take the chance.
And I can attest to that. At the ALX, we have a course called the AI Career Essentials course, which is a 6-week course where you learn how to use all these AI tools. And I've been in education for 20 years. I've started several schools, trained 1 million people. I'd never taken any of the courses myself, but I took the AI Career Essentials, and it was an amazing course. And I then said all my staff had to take it, so everyone took the course. Yeah, and it is something that has opened up my eyes, and so and allowed me to be more productive and effective. And so, yes, you're right. AI is here whether we like it or not. And so we at least need to learn about it so that we know and can distinguish between the hype and the facts, and to know what is truly a fear and what is maybe overblown anxiety, and so that we can actually then start to make those decisions as humans to thrive in this environment. But the very least, we owe it to ourselves to learn about what AI is and what it isn't, and to at least empower ourselves to be able to make those judgment calls. So Frontier Institute of Technology will be offering AI Career Essentials as well in the US, and you will all be able to take it. It's a course 6 weeks long, 5 hours a week, or you can sit, like I did it in 3 days. I just did the whole thing. And even your grandmother can take the course. So you have no excuse for not at least learning about the basics of AI. All right, I'll open up for a couple of questions and we can wrap up. Does anyone have any questions? All right. Can we have a microphone?
Thank you. I'm wondering from the two of you, each from your own perspective, the implications of Xania and could the entertainment industry, I'm thinking movies as well as the record industry, the music industry and all of that kind of thing, completely be AI in the future, or is there some balance that's appropriate? And what are the implications for the industry?
I can take it from the film and television perspective. I think at the beginning, what will be accepted more are bringing back deceased actors, right? Because then you're not replacing a living actor, and you're bringing back someone from before, right? And Elvis Presley or somebody else, right? And yeah, Charlie Chaplin, exactly. So I think that is going to be very easily acceptable, but I would say music industry is the leading group. If you look back in history, music, what happened in music happens later in television and film. So I think what she has done with a music artist is the bellwether of what's possible in the future for film and television.
Is there room for Taylor Swift in the future? Or are they all going to be Xania?
Traditional artists will always be around. I don't think traditional artists will never go anywhere.
There was a company that did holographs of on stage live of Buddy Holly and Roy Orbison, and I went to go see it, and the place was packed. The entire theater was packed of people in their 70s because they remember going to the original shows and they wanted to relive that.
Right.
So that's kind of what I'm talking about.
So my question, Miss Nikki Jones, is what do you think, as it relates to what you've been able to accomplish with Xania, would be considered doing too much for the industry? I think about like when K-Cups and the guy who invented came back and said, oh, I wish you would have done it, created this recycling problem. So what do you think would be considered doing too much, and what would you do to make sure you don't get to that point with your artist?
I think I'm already being seen as doing too much. Because I've been taking a lot of backlash from, like major artists and things like that. But again, it's AIs, and with me being at the forefront and being the first one, it's going to be a lot of backlash, and, I'm going to be the one that have to take it. But I don't think I'm doing too much. I'm just doing something new that they're not used to.
All right. Any last questions?
Right here. Chris Lee, mayor of Tuskegee, Alabama. My question is, what does tour revenue look like for AI artists? And what are the plans, for the live or streaming, or how does that look like?
We are talking about the holographs along with the LED screens. Nothing said in general yet. Tour revenue, I don't know. I can't wait to see either.
Yeah, still to be figured out.
Yeah, it's still new.
Any last questions?
Maybe the holographic technology will help, right?
Maybe the whole
Definitely.
yeah.
But I think the LED screens with the live band will give you more of the feel.
Well, before we wrap up, I'm going to share one opinion that I have about where we're going with this. And it's coming from what I'm observing about hiring. So, in the past, I never really put much emphasis on interviews. Because research shows that when you're hiring someone, the correlation between how they perform on the interview and how they actually perform on the job is something like 15%, right? Yeah. So interviews are terrible ways to hire people. People tell you what they think you want to hear, and most of us are not tuned to be able to detect, right? So when you give someone an assignment, then your signal and the correlation between how they perform on the assignment and how they perform on the job is much higher. It can be up to 40%, right? And if you combine a structured interview with an assignment, you can get up to about 60%, right? And the highest form is 70-80% if someone does an internship or they work with you, right? So one of the things that I've been doing over the last 20 years is I don't really put much emphasis on interviews. I give you assignments. But now I can't trust the assignment anymore because, yeah, right? So I don't trust the assignment. So I'm grappling. So I'm starting to think that I'm going to have to shift entirely the way that I hire to live work. Come and work with me for a day or two. Or I need to see you put this thing together on a screen. I'm not going to trust the assignment that you give me anymore. So when it comes to music, entertainment, aren't we going to go back to analog forms where I'm actually there's going to be a rise in live performances and seeing the authentic human self, and almost going back to how music and art was created 100 years ago. And analog art, a rise of that at some point. I mean, and this is this is one of the things that my theories is that we're going to see a rise of humans who are creative and lots of small ways being able to have communities of artists that want to see them in the flesh, in intimate settings and large settings. And who knows, this could create a whole new wave of opportunity for folks. So again, this is a very exciting time in the world, right? There's so many unknowns. And I think we'll be surprised by some of the things that will come out as technology emerges. Okay, I'm going to wrap up with rapid fire questions. Xania. Nikki. Yeah, exactly. She's one of the same. First app you check in the morning.
Facebook.
You're on Facebook?
You said first app, Facebook.
First app you check, you're still on Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram. I be having so many notifications.
I thought only grandparents were still on Facebook. Wow.
I love Facebook.
I've never met. I mean, you're not Gen Z. Are you like Gen Alpha? What? I don't know what generation you are.
I don't know. I'm still with the old school.
You're still old school. Okay. Facebook. Wow. What about you, Palash?
My stock portfolio.
Stock portfolio. Okay.
See what happened overnight.
Text or call, Palash? Text or call?
More text now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nikki, most productive time of day?
For me, overnight.
All right. Nikki, sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise. I get more done in the, sunrise.
Early morning.
Yeah.
Now, what about Xania? Sunrise or sunset?
So now you're going all day.
All day.
All day.
All day. Palash, try new food or stick to favorites?
No. Always new food. I love to cook, so inventing new recipes and trying new things are my thing.
That's your thing. All right. Nikki, one app you'd cry if it disappeared?
I don't think it's an app that I kind of cry over.
Oh, so there's no app that you're so addicted to that you wouldn't mind getting rid of?
No, I don't think
right.
so. But definitely soon enough, maybe.
Definitely sooner. Palash, one task you'd happily let AI do forever?
Attend a lot of unimportant meetings.
Nikki, biggest myth about your job?
Biggest what?
Biggest myth about your job?
It's easy.
You probably think it's easy, all right. Palash, fashion mistake you'll never repeat?
That's a lot. Sure. Hard to say, really. I mean, maybe two different shades of the same color.
Okay. Palash again, creativity fails when? In 7 words or less.
When you overthink about what the audience wants, instead of creating what you really feel, right? Because there will be an audience for what you do, but if you try to reverse engineer it, I think it becomes something old, or something that's a derivative work rather than original work.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Last question. Nikki, creativity thrives when?
You try.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.